Right. So once again, you are welcome to Cryptoverse 2.0. This is the second time I'm doing a crypto class. I had one earlier last year, January also, and it was a success. And based on that, I've seen some things that have improved in the markets. A lot of things have happened within the space of 1 year. So I decided to have this class to explain some of these things that have happened over the course of 1 year, some of the improvement that have happened in the market, some of the updates that has happened in the market. So this class is basic for people that are just getting started with cryptocurrency. You don't know anything about cryptocurrency at all. So this class is for you. I'll start from there. So I will explain from there. Then from there, we'll be able to go to other a little bit advanced stuff that you need to know about cryptocurrency. So my name is Oladayo and I'm a crypto trader right now. So first, let me explain my cryptocurrency journey. So I got to know cryptocurrency, I think when I was in part 2. So that should be something around 2017, 2018. So one of my friends just gave me some details about cryptocurrency, and then Ethereum was still around $300. So he just told me that, oh, this is the new thing happening, and I checked it out. Then it was just about filling form and getting airdrops. So that basically that was how I started. I started filling drops and all the likes. And then from there, I've been able to move to becoming a community lead, like a community manager in the cryptocurrency scene. I've been able to write articles, different articles. Kindly mute your mic. If you are just coming in, please mute your mic and your videos, please, so that we don't distract ourselves. So I've been able to transition into a content writer, a community lead in the cryptocurrency scene, and recently a trader. So what I do basically is I try to educate people on how cryptocurrency works, because I see a lot of misinformation that go around when people get to hear about cryptocurrency. Like I see a lot of people talk about different things, especially with the new things happening now, NFT, Metaverse, all the likes, Web3. I see a lot of people like put some details that shouldn't be, that are just like theory. Someone tweeted something about data analytics on Twitter recently, and you can tell from the way the person tweeted that this person only has a theoretical understanding. Like this person probably copied it from Google. And except you are in the scene, you know, understand how some of this thing works, your explanation might not be what is needed. Like the kind of explanation you will give will be different from what it should be for what someone who is practical, who understands what it is, so from what the person is going to give. So yeah, so that's what I will be doing in this class. I'll be giving practical explanation. This class will not only be about explanation. As a matter of fact, I have slides prepared for this class. As a matter of fact, I can decide not to use slide, and I'll still be able to explain some of this stuff, and we'll be able to do practice. But because I want it to be as detailed as possible, and I want to have a sequel, a timeline of what I'll be teaching, so I have slides prepared for this class. Also, I have a guide. I've been trying to create some guides around some topics. I'll share that now. I have a guide I've been creating around some of these things that will explain some of the details of these things, what they are. I'm sharing that now. Yeah. So I have a guide. I have a guide I've created around this class about DeFi, network bridge, Web3. So these are just extra explanation. I'll try as much as possible to explain some of this stuff, every of this stuff in the class. But as much as I will explain it in the class, this will serve as an extra guide. This will serve as an extra guide for us in this class. Yeah, so I'll be sharing the link to this when the class is over by Friday. I'll be sharing the link to this. So yeah, so Also, after this class, I've created a Calendly link for anyone that wants to have a meeting, one-on-one meeting. Maybe you need extra assistance based on what I've explained in class. You still don't understand some of these principles very well. So I'm ready to guide you. I'll create a link where you can have 30 minutes to 1 hour to be able to interact, and I'll be able to help you out. So yeah, so let's start the class. So today, the core of what I'll be taking today in today's class will be about the introductory part. So the core of what I'll be taking is please, if you have any question, just drop it in the message box so I can see it and answer it. Yeah. So what you learn basically in this class, you learn about cryptocurrency, the basics of cryptocurrency. You learn trading, sports trading, margin trading, futures trading. You learn how to spot crypto gems. You learn introduction to decentralized finance, staking, farming. You learn how to use our network bridge. You understand what IEO, IDO, LaunchPad, what they are. You get to understand what NFTs are and what's the hype around them, because I see a lot of hype around them and a lot of people don't actually understand what some of these things are. And at every point of tweet or every point of post, you see people say you can NFT this, you can NFT that. So you get to understand what NFTs are. And also you have an introduction to Web3, the Metaverse and GameFi. And also you for people that want to have a career in the blockchain industry, that's in Web3, I will find a way of creating a guide around these things. And also I'll also talk about risk management and security, how you can manage your portfolio so that you don't end up losing the whole of your money. So before we start, I need you to understand that cryptocurrency is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not a Ponzi scheme where you put $2 and you're expecting $2,000 the next day. No, there are certain principles you have to follow. There are certain things you need to understand before you can actually say that, okay, this is what I'm getting. Actually, for me, I've not used my personal money as it is to buy cryptocurrency. A lot of money I've gained in the system. A lot of money I have, a lot of cryptocurrency I have money I've gained through the system, from airdrops initially when it was still early, although it's quite hard to get some airdrops right now. I'll explain that. I'll explain what you need to know about airdrops. So I got them through airdrops, and then some through trading, and some few work that I've done in the cryptocurrency scene. So the core of a lot of, can you please mute your mic, please? So the core of cryptocurrencies that I've gotten as what I've gotten through the system. So yeah, so you need to understand that it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a multi-level marketing scheme where you have to bring someone before you can gain money. Please, can you mute your mic and switch off? Yeah, so it's not a multi-level marketing scheme. So it's based on certain principles, and anyone can do it as long as you understand how this thing works. Anyone can do it. Okay, so yeah, so today will be, the core of what I'll be discussing today will be about money, blockchain, cryptocurrency. Please mute your mic, please. Mute your mic, please. Okay. So it will be about money, blockchain, cryptocurrency, then wallets, crypto wallets, and exchanges. So that will be what we'll be discussing today. Then tomorrow we'll talk about cryptocurrency trading fully. Tomorrow, I'm dedicating the whole of tomorrow for cryptocurrency trading. Then on Wednesday, we'll talk about decentralized finance, because these two things, they are the core of what you need to know about cryptocurrency. So on Wednesday, I'll talk about decentralized finance. Then on Thursday, we'll talk about NFTs, Web3, career in NFTs and Web3, basically. Then on Friday, we'll talk about security, asset management, and then other things, question and answer, and other important stuffs. Yeah. So let's start. So before you can understand how cryptocurrency work as a mix of exchange, you need to understand the core reason why people make cryptocurrency as a means of exchange is because it has certain similarities with money. And you need to understand how money works before you can understand this. So basically, we understand money as a means of exchange. Anything can actually be called money so far we place a value on it. So far we have a value and we are able to represent it as a means of exchange for something. So basically, money is a means of exchange, of exchanging value. That's the core of money. If whatever you own cannot be used to exchange value, then that thing is not worthy to be called money. So over the years, money has been able to move from different form to another. We know at a point there is barter trading where people just trade. If you have a shoe, you can decide to trade it for, let's say, a plank of the same value, of the same words. So you bring a shoe that's having the same words with the plank you want to exchange. And we see money metamorphose into gold. There was a point where people exchange gold, where people have gold reserves, and that is what they use as a means of exchange. Then we move to metal coin, one kobo coin, and the likes. Then right now, physically, we use paper value as money. Then we have our ATMs right now where we can be able to slot into ATM machine and be able to do transaction online, and the electronic money we have. And right now, where we are right now is using cryptocurrency to make transactions, to do transactions online, exchanging values where I can convert my BTC, my Ethereum, my BNB, I can convert them to USDT or convert them to Naira, as the case may be. So basically, money has been able to move from those different levels, and where we are right now in the face of what money is the cryptocurrency scene. So why are we talking about cryptocurrency right now? The reason we're talking about cryptocurrency right now is because there is a certain limitation with the current monetary system. The ways in which we transact money with our fiat currency, there is certain limitation which cryptocurrency has come to try to bridge some of those gaps. We can see with money now, if we try to do some transactions on our bank app now, we'll see that we have certain restrictions on our bank app where they tell you that you can't do certain transactions. Maybe you can't do more than 200,000 or you can't do more than 50,000 at a time. So there are a lot of restriction on how much we can spend, even when it is our money, with the current monetary system. Also, there are sometimes probably when there's a network issue where you send money and the receiver is not able to get the money after a long time. Maybe it takes some certain days or few hours before the money is received by the receiver. Then also we can see that right now, if you try to do, before any transaction goes through, there's the part of a third party, that's the bank, that has to authorize every transaction, as the case may be. They can decide to flag your account if they see that, okay, this person is transacting certain amounts, or this person has a crypto description in his transaction description. They can decide to flag the account. And we see that the whole system, the whole banking system is based on a third party, which is the bank, central bank, or the government, as the case may be. And they can decide to not let you make a transaction. They can decide to stop your account from receiving money or sending money. Also, your money can be affected if your money in your bank can be affected if there's a problem with central bank. Let's say there is a time that, okay, even right now in Nigeria, your dollar account, there are certain amounts you can transact because central bank has placed a limitation on that, on domiciliary accounts sending transaction right now. So central bank their server can be affected whereby you won't be able to send any money, or their banking app is not working or anything. You are at the mercy of a third party before you be able to do a transaction. So also we also have charges that are being added to every transaction we are doing when we use our normal banks. When we try to do transactions, we'll see maybe 50 naira, 26 naira, all of that amount when we try. So these are some of the limitations that we have with the current monetary system that we have right now. So what cryptocurrency has come to challenge are some of these things. And as we'll see in the course of this class, we'll see how cryptocurrency has been able to try to solve some of these limitations. So some of the properties of money, before a particular thing can be called money, before you can call it money, it needs to establish some of these facts and properties. So first, before something can be called money, it needs to have a limited supply. If it doesn't have, the reason we are not using sand and we are using a paper currency that we can actually count is because we want it to have a limited supply. Before you can call something money, it needs to have a limited supply. You need to know that, okay, this is the amount that is available. This is the amount in circulation. This is the total amount we have. Before you can say that this particular thing, before you can call it money. So it has to be scarce. It doesn't have to be something that is readily available at every place at all time. It has to be scarce. There has to be a limitation to the supply. So also it has to be fungible. It means you must be able to exchange it. It must be interchangeable. You need to be able to exchange your money for another. You need to be able to exchange your $100 now for another currency. So before you can call it money, it needs to be interchangeable. It needs to be fungible. Also, it needs to be transferable, easily transferable between different owners. So you need to be able to transfer the money from user A to user B. I need to be able to send my $100 from my wallet, or my money from my wallet. I need to be able to send it to another wallet, and the person will be able to receive it. So that is when, those are some of the properties of money. Then it needs to be divisible. It needs to have smaller units. That's why we have naira, we have kobo, and we have pounds, shillings, and the likes. So it needs to have smaller units that for that particular currency to be able to stand the test of being called money. So also it needs to be durable. That means it needs to be able to stand the test of time. Like it needs to be available over a longer period of time. Like it shouldn't be something that will be available right now, and before the end of the year, then that thing ceases to be money. Then that particular currency is not actualizing the property of money. So the reason I'm putting this is so that we'll understand how cryptocurrency, okay, can see a message. Okay, fungible nature of money means that you must be able to replace it with an identical item. You must be able to interchange money. So I need to be able to interchange my 100 naira. I need to be able to use it to buy, let's say maybe gala now, 100 naira gala. I need to be able to exchange it for something else. Then it needs to be, my 100 naira doesn't have to be the only 100 naira available. Like it doesn't have a unique identifier. That's some of the properties of something being non-fungible. It doesn't have to have a unique identifier. When we get to non-fungible, that's an NFT. We'll see how NFTs how they have a unique identifier, that there is only one. So your 100 naira is not just one single 100 naira. There are several 100 nairas. There are several 5 nairas. There are several 1,000 naira notes that you can use to exchange for an identical item. Hope that is understandable. Yeah. So as I was saying, so this is just to explain how cryptocurrency is able to pass the test of being called money. Okay, how cryptocurrency is able to pass the test of being called money. Yeah. So with these properties, we want to see how Bitcoin, as an example here, how it's able to actualize some of these things. So in terms of being scarce, Bitcoin has a fixed total supply of 21 million Bitcoin. So there can only be 21 million Bitcoin readily available. Only 21 million, nothing more, nothing less. So it has a fixed supply. When we start explaining market capitalization, circulating supply, so total supply, I will explain this further. So fungibility, you can readily exchange cryptocurrency to fiat or other currency on exchange sites. There are several exchange sites for you to exchange your BTC, as an example now, into other currency. You can also easily transfer your Bitcoin from your wallet, from one wallet into another. I can send, some people paid in this class, they paid with cryptocurrency. They use cryptocurrency in paying for this class. So they can easily send their money, which is the same value as the physical money that we know. So you can easily transfer your Bitcoin from one wallet into another. Also, Bitcoin is divisible. I know a lot of us have heard about Satoshi, but we don't know that Sat actually, outside the meaning of Satoshi being the owner of Bitcoin or the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi is actually a divisible unit of Bitcoin. So one Satoshi is 0.000, that's 7 zeros Bitcoin, and one Bitcoin is 10 million Satoshi. Yeah. So Bitcoin has it has small units. Also, durability. Bitcoin has been in existence since 2009. That's how many years now? That's 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. So it has been able to, that's it. Yeah, 13 years. 13 years. Yeah, so it has been able to pass the test of time, and has been able to stand the test of time as being called money. Okay. Okay, what does fiat? I will explain that. So fiat is just your usual currency, like your default currency. So when we talk about fiat now, we talk about US dollars, we talk about naira, we talk about Japanese yen, all those currencies, they are fiat currency. Yeah, they are fiat currency. So that's what fiat means. So we move from there. From now that we know what money is and how we can classify cryptocurrency as money, then we move to blockchain. So blockchain is basically a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across an entire network of computer system. So I don't know how many of us have used an Excel sheet before. So take blockchain as an Excel sheet that is readily available for everybody, where everybody can see what is happening. Something around an open source. Yes, when you have something that everybody can see, everybody can use, like it's readily available at every point. It is duplicated across all networks. So for those of us that have understanding of cloud computing now, so the way the blockchain works is like it's a collection of shared system, like different system that are running the network, that are running a blockchain network, and they are making the transactions, so they are making whatever is happening on one particular laptop or system available, readily available on every other system that is connected to that system. So blockchain is a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across an entire network of computers. So we have a lot of it. So blockchain is open to all. It's a digital ledger. As I explained the other time, if you've worked on Excel before, So far I have a link and I'm able to edit whatever is in your Excel sheet, then I have access to it. Like if so far I have the link and you give me access to your Excel sheet, then I have access to it. So that's the same way blockchain is. It's an open access to every transaction that it's on it. So the way blockchain works is like block and chain. So it has each block being produced and a chain, more like a chain now, being connected from one block to another. So we have a series of blocks whereby a chain is connecting those blocks as it's being created per time. So each blocks contain the number of transactions. It contains every details of that transaction. So each block of a blockchain contains the time, the dates, the dollar amount as at the time when the transaction is being made. So we'll see some example of this by the time I open an Explorer and we're able to show some of these things practically. So, so that is basically how the blockchain is. So blockchain is just a series of blocks whereby a chain is connecting it, and every block represents a transaction. It represents every record of the transaction. Everything that is happening within that transaction, of each transaction, is recorded in each block, and then the block is created. And then the chain is connecting the previous block to the next block in such a way that you can get the record of the previous block that has been created. You can get, in fact, you can get the record of all the blocks that has been created. You can get the record of all the blocks that has been created. So properties of blockchain, before something can actually be called, can actually say that this thing is working on a blockchain network, then it has to fulfill these three properties. Before any cryptocurrency can say, okay, it's a cryptocurrency built on blockchain network, it has to fulfill these three properties. It has to be immutable. That is, the data is the data stored on blockchain is immutable and cannot be easily changed. It means you cannot change the record. Whatever record you create, you cannot delete it or reverse it. So any record that is created in the blockchain is irreversible. It is readily available. You cannot reverse it. Even if you make a mistake, like you cannot reverse it, it stays there for life, except it stays there for life because it's an open record. So I'll still explain who miners are and how it gets related with blocks. And those who validate the transaction and add them in blocks are called miners. I will explain that very soon. So another property of blockchain is that it is decentralized. That is, it is an open ledger system. So ledger is basically a record of transaction done and it is visible to everybody. So it is readily decentralized. Like you don't need, there's no central body. There's no one controlling how the record is being imputed or how the record is not imputed, whereby they can decide to remove a particular record or put a particular record. It is decentralized. Everyone has access to the transaction and they have access to the record as at that time, immediately it is created. So it has no central authority to control the network. There's no centralized government to say, okay, we have to stop this block from producing, we have to stop this blockchain from producing block at this particular time. No, it is decentralized. So another property of blockchain is that it is peer-to-peer. That is, it's involved two parties. There's the sender and then there's a receiver. It's not just a static network. It is peer-to-peer, readily available to share information from the sender and then to the receiver without a third party. When you create a peer-to-peer transaction now, you don't need a third party to authorize whatever you are creating. So far, I can agree that I'm sending this thing and the receiver has also agreed to receive it. Then both of you can have a transaction between each other. So that is basically, these are basically the properties, the core properties of blockchain. So this readily explains how a block is formed, how blockchain works. So when you want to create a transaction on blockchain, you need to have a public and private key. So this public and private key will be able to help to form digital signature and ensure that there is security consent and be able to form hash, as the case may be. I know this might be probably a little technical, but I'll try to explain. So once you have your public and private key, I will explain what they are. I'll explain it in subsequent slide. There's a slide to explain that. So once you have your public and private key and you are ready to make a transaction, you notify the network that you want to create a transaction, right? So let's say I want to send 0.5 Bitcoin from my wallet. The moment I type that I want to create this particular transaction, the network validates and see if I have that amount on my wallet. So if I have it, it's authorized my transaction to go through. And immediately I post my transaction, there are certain people called miners. The miners are the people that authorize they are the one that validates every transaction. So before you can become a miner, there are certain algorithms, there are certain mathematical puzzles that they have to fulfill, that they have to answer before you can be able to become a miner. That's how mining works. So the moment miner validates my transaction, a particular block is created that incorporates the date, the time, and the dollar value of what I'm sending. And it has a record of my wallet. It also has a record of the person I'm sending the money to. So this is majorly how blockchain works. And so miners, they use a particular consensus mechanism. I will explain that in day 2 or 3. Yeah. So there's something called proof of work. So proof of work is basically the consensus mechanism that Bitcoin uses to work, in which transactions are being carried out on blockchain, like Bitcoin blockchain network now. So a particular mathematical puzzle needs to be solved by the miners. There are several miners across the world, and they have their system readily available to validate transactions. So the moment they validate the transaction, a block is created that records every details of that particular transaction I'm about to do, and creates a block of it. So basically, that's like a little understanding of how blockchain works. So this is just it. So you create a transaction. This is a digital signature, that is an hash, a digital signature that is created on that particular transaction I'm about to create. And after that is signed and validated, a block is created that is linked to another block that will be created. So this is just like a graphical explanation of how block is created in the blockchain network. So this is another example of how transaction is created. So when you request a transaction is authenticated, a block is created. A block is sent to every node. That's every miner's network that is readily available. So the node is validated. The transaction is the nodes receive the reward. A block is created and is added to the existing block. A distributed network of nodes is created, and then the transaction is received at the other end. All of this just takes milliseconds rather, for all of these things to happen. All of these explanations, all of these things, it just takes milliseconds for all of this to happen. Okay. Question. Where do you request the transaction? Yeah, you request it on your wallet. We will see that very soon. We'll get to the part where you send money, you receive money, all of that. We'll get to that part very soon. So where you request for the transaction is when you create, when you decide to send money from one wallet to another. That is where the transaction is being created. So, okay. So right now there is a lot of use case of blockchain outside cryptocurrency. I know right now, for now, a lot of what we know about cryptocurrency, about blockchain right now is majorly cryptocurrency. But there are a lot of other things you can use the blockchain to do. You can use it as a supply chain management, whereby you're able to record all the inventories of, let's say you have, you are trying to move a particular product from one location to another. So you can use the blockchain to actually track whatever item you are trying to move, so that per time you're able to know where the location or where that particular item is at a particular point in time using a blockchain network. Blockchain can be used for educational records, where you can create a certificate. You can create a certificate and then you create it on the blockchain, such that if they select that transaction on the blockchain, they will be able to identify it as a certificate, like as your certificate. The record will show that this particular transaction is a certificate on the blockchain network. Blockchain is being used in decentralized finance, where you can borrow loan, get collateral, where you can stake coin the same way you save in your bank and receive certain rewards. It's being used in the gaming industry, where they use it as a form of payment, for games. It's being used in voting. Blockchain is being used in voting, although it's not there are not a lot of countries using it right now because of probably some little limitations around it. But you can use it in a voting system, whereby each record of votes is being created on the blockchain. And since blockchain is immutable, it has an immutability property, then anytime a vote is created, you'll be able to ascertain who owns these votes, and you'll be able to, and that particular vote cannot be erased or changed per time. Like, you can't even change that particular vote at any point in time. Immediately the vote is created on the blockchain, you have a record of it, and everybody can readily see it. Like, since it's an open ledger, everyone can see who this particular user is voting for at this particular point in time, and you cannot change it. Like, the record is there for life. So you can use it in voting mechanism. You can actually use it in, or you can also use it rather in original content creation, whereby you create your content, and something that looks like when you have a patent for whatever you are creating. So you can use your blockchain to verify that particular content, that this particular content belongs to me alone. There was a point in time someone was creating a WordPress, is it extension they call it now? I can't remember what they call it. Yeah, a WordPress plugin, whereby every article is creating on WordPress, it generates a blockchain transaction, and the record is there as the record is there to show that is the owner of that particular content. So anytime someone plagiarizes that particular content, you can easily show that, you can easily have a proof that you were the one that created this particular content at this particular point in time. So these are just some of the few use cases of blockchain beyond cryptocurrency. So we are moving next to cryptocurrencies. So now that we know money, we know what blockchain is. Now, the next thing for us to know is cryptocurrency. So the basic understanding of cryptocurrency is that it is a virtual currency that is created using cryptography. So cryptography is like a technology of that works in blockchain, and that's basically a technology that creates encryption and algorithm that creates block on the blockchain network. Okay, what's this question? Okay, how is blockchain used in real estate? So in real estate now, you can have a particular house now, and all the records of that house to show a proof that you are the owner of this house can be created in blockchain network. So with the blockchain network, you can easily know who is the owner of this particular apartment or this particular property. Yeah. Although some of these use cases they are still at their very, very early stage. They are not being used right now. For now, a lot of these use cases are still in their early stage. The core of what people use blockchain for right now is still cryptocurrency for now. Yeah. So as I was explaining, so cryptocurrency is basically virtual currency that you can use to exchange value, can use to exchange money and value from one person to another. And it's not cryptocurrency is not, as I've explained the other time, as I've explained some of the properties of blockchain. So anything that is called cryptocurrency has to fulfill, anything that is called a cryptocurrency has to fulfill some of these properties. It has to be immutable, it has to be decentralized, and it has to be peer-to-peer before you can call it a cryptocurrency. So anybody can come up with a coin that this is this coin, but if it does not fulfill some of these properties, then that particular thing is not a cryptocurrency. If it doesn't fulfill immutable, if it's not immutable, if it doesn't have a peer-to-peer function, and if it's not decentralized, then it's not a cryptocurrency. So now, when we talk of cryptocurrency, the four known, like the most popular cryptocurrency that we all know now is Bitcoin. There are actually other cryptocurrencies before Bitcoin, but Bitcoin happens to be the first that is being used in exchange for value. Yep. So Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer currency that was created by Nakamoto Satoshi. Actually, we don't know if Nakamoto Satoshi is a person or a group of persons. The only thing we know about Nakamoto Satoshi is that he created a white paper for Bitcoin. That was in 2008 when there was a financial system, there was a financial breakdown in world economy system. So he created Bitcoin to be able to solve some of these financial economic problem that we have in the world. So that was how he was able to come about Bitcoin. So, and Bitcoin, it has no central authority. As a matter of fact, we don't know the founder right now. We don't know the founder. We don't know if he's a person or a group. We know him by name. We don't know if he's a person or a group of person. And Bitcoin is deflationary in nature. Sorry for my accent. Okay, it's deflationary in nature. So a deflationary asset is an asset that the buying power increases over time. So the price of Bitcoin over time, over the years, has been increasing per time. The value of one Bitcoin in its early stage is different from what it is. Early last year, Bitcoin was still around 20,000 last year. Right now, Bitcoin is around 42. Mic, please. Mute your mic. Okay. No, please mute, please. Okay. So, as I was explaining, sorry about that. So as I'm explaining the deflationary nature of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been the value of Bitcoin, the buying power of Bitcoin has been increasing over the years. So for a particular asset to be deflationary nature, it has to be, the buying power has to increase over time. So what you can use one Bitcoin to buy in, let's say last year now, it's not the same thing you use it to buy right now. So one Bitcoin last year is $20,000. Right now, one Bitcoin is around $42,000. You can see the difference in amount of what you can use it to buy compared to what you can use it to buy last year. The same thing upper year, there was a point Bitcoin was 3,000. In 2019, when there was a crash, Bitcoin was 3,000. Yeah. So what you can use Bitcoin to buy then is different from what you can use one Bitcoin to buy right now, like when you convert it. So over the years, Bitcoin has been able to, it has a deflationary nature whereby the buying power increases over time. And as I explained the other time, Bitcoin has a fixed total supply of 21 million Bitcoin. So that's the only amount of Bitcoin available. Oh, network. Okay, this class is recorded. So after the class, maybe on Friday, Saturday, the recording will be available, and I'll already share it with everybody. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah. So Bitcoin has a fixed supply, total supply of 21 million. Bitcoin has a total supply of 21 million. And the first transaction that happened, I think some of us, if we are online, we should have heard about Pizza Day. That's when the first Bitcoin transaction happened. That was in May 2010, when one Bitcoin, the value was still 0.03. So the person bought two pizza worth of $25. He exchanged 10,000 BTC for two pizza. And this is the guy's name. Yeah, the guy actually said he didn't regret doing that, because like if you convert 10,000 BTC right now to what it is right now, you know what you'll be having. 10,000 times $42,000. 10,000 times 42,000 now. That's like $420 million right now. Yeah, he said he didn't regret because it was the one that made the first Bitcoin transaction. So he still has that respect. So every May 2010, I think May 13, I can't actually remember the particular day now. There's a celebration of Pizza Day. That's a remembrance of when the first transaction of Bitcoin happened. And since then, there have been a lot of transactions, of course, that have occurred using Bitcoin over time. Yep. So now, I know we might probably be getting a little bit confused that, okay, what's cryptocurrency, what's blockchain, what's Bitcoin? Is it not the same thing? So this is how it works. So blockchain is the underlying technology that all cryptocurrencies are built on. So every cryptocurrency you have is built on blockchain network. So blockchain is not only, that was why I said blockchain is not only limited to cryptocurrency. So one of the uses of blockchain is development of cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrencies generally are digital currencies that have the property of course, property of blockchain, that is, they are decentralized, immutable, and peer-to-peer. And Bitcoin is the first known cryptocurrency. So we see the difference now. So they are different, as I will show us now. There are more than 2,000 cryptocurrencies available, and Bitcoin just happens to be the majorly known cryptocurrency. So that's the difference between cryptocurrency, blockchain, Bitcoin. Blockchain is the underlying technology. Cryptocurrencies are digital currencies, and Bitcoin happens to be the first known cryptocurrency. So there's something called Bitcoin halving. So Bitcoin halving happens every 4 years. The last one happened 2019. Yes, the last Bitcoin halving happened 2019. Is it 2019 or last year, 2021? I think it should be last year. So what happens with Bitcoin halving is that miners, the people I said validate transactions, there's a particular reward they receive every 10 minutes for every block they produce. So when a miner mines a particular, that's why they say they mine coin. So when a miner validates a transaction, there's a reward they receive. So when Bitcoin first started, that was early 2009, 2010, they received 50 Bitcoin for every block. So each miner receives 50 blocks for every block they create. So in order not to make miners keep dumping on the market, this halving system, Bitcoin halving system, is created. This halving system is not available on all blockchain networks, but it's available on Bitcoin, and some other cryptocurrencies they've also included that as some of their own property too. But for Bitcoin, so at every halving year, the reward that each miner receives is slashed by 2, is divided by 2. So after 210 blocks have been mined, that's every 4 years, approximately every 4 years, the amount of coin that will be given as reward to each miner is reduced. So so recently, as of now, the block reward we have now is now 6.25 per block. Like right now, we have 6.25 block that is being created, that is serving as a reward for each miner per block that they are created. I know you want to ask how you can become a miner. Right now, becoming a Bitcoin miner is out of it. Becoming an Ethereum miner is out of it, because before you can become a miner, you will need certain devices which are very, very costly. They are very, very costly, and mining is actually the duty of high weight companies, high weight organizations. They are the people that mine. You need to have, your internet needs to be on at every point in time, like readily available. Then you need to have you need to have high bandwidth, like your laptop has to have a high processor in order to be able to process the mining system now. Okay, cloud-based mining, even cloud-based mining right now, you cannot cloud-based mine, if there's anything like that. Yes, you cannot cloud-based mine Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin and Ethereum is trying to move to proof of stake. So I will explain what proof of stake is very soon. But right now, you cannot mine Bitcoin. Even with cloud-based mining, you cannot. So any service that I say they are providing cloud-based mining now is it's not legit, because you cannot even cloud-based mine. Okay, if miners reward, yeah, they keep getting profits because, okay, 2009, when Bitcoin was still, when the value was still low, probably 2010 upward, when the value was probably, let's say $1,000. When it was $1,000, they were receiving 50 Bitcoin per each block they are creating. So I don't know how frequent they create a block. So let's say throughout the whole year, they were able to create 2,000 blocks now. So 2,000 times 1,000, you know what it is. So each year when it keeps getting mined, you see that the price of Bitcoin keeps increasing over time. So right now they are creating, so let's say that 50 blocks now, they were creating 50 blocks. Let's say they were able to create, 50 Bitcoin per block. Let's say they were able to create 10 blocks throughout the whole year. 10 block times 50, that means they are getting 500 BTC, which is, let's say it was 1,000 at that time. They were getting $500,000 as at that time, right? So right now that the reward is 6.25 and they are creating 10 blocks, they are getting 62.5 Bitcoin, which the price right now is $42,000. It means they are getting $2.6 million. So you can see the difference. So that is why every 4 years, after every 4 years turn, that is why the price of Bitcoin is always speculated to increase. So that is one of the major factors that causes, you can see now, this first blue is when the first Bitcoin halving happened. You can see the trajectory of the price after the halving happened. You see what happened during the second halving and what we have now after the third halving. So at the turn of every 4 years, when there's a Bitcoin halving, it's expected, there's a potential that Bitcoin price will increase after Bitcoin halving. So it won't be the same price that it was at the previous halving. A lot of times the price is always even more than ×2 by the time the next halving comes up. So that's why a lot of people, when it's getting to that halving period, they try to buy a lot of Bitcoin because they know that there's a possibility that the price will increase. Yeah, so that's what serves as their reward. So some of the Bitcoin terms, I've been explaining miner the other time. So miners are those that validate Bitcoin transactions. They are the one that make sure that every transaction is being validated. So so there are a lot of miners readily available at every point in time. When there's a transaction, there's a rotation. So another thing that happens is that so that one particular miner does not keep getting all the gain and does not keep creating a block, there's a rotation of miner per each transaction, per each block that is created. So when it comes to their turn, they validate the transaction. That's why they have their application, their software has to be readily online at that time. So they they validate the transaction, create the block, and they get the reward for it. So so an hash is like a link. It's like a link between two different blocks. It's some of the transaction details that has been incorporated. It has been incorporated when blocks are created that links one block to another. And I explained the other time. So blocks are being created. Blocks are records of transactions that happens on a network. And a node is a collection of blocks, rather, a collection of blocks. So that's what a node is. Smart contracts, we'll still learn it by the time we'll start explaining decentralized finance. So smart contracts are just codes. They are basically codes that has certain protocols and standards that has been incorporated in the code such that transaction or whatever is happening on the blockchain network can go freely without any third party. So all the protocol that needs to be observed is already in record, like it's already imputed in the code. So sell this to this person. When this particular person accepts to send this, then send this amount to this person. So smart contract is basically codes, protocols, codes that has protocols in it that they fulfill a particular protocol that had already been written by the developer, and they operate on their own. They operate on their own. So forks, I don't know if you've heard this. We heard when they say a coin is going to be hard fork. So a fork happens when a particular currency, for example, a typical example of a fork is Ethereum fork. So there was a time Ethereum was attacked. So when Ethereum was attacked, certain people said that the reason Ethereum was attacked was because of the protocol they were using at that time. So a set of community members decided to vote that they don't want that particular protocol to be used. So therefore, they are moving out of Ethereum. They will still be using some of the properties of Ethereum, but with some changes. So that is where an hard fork comes up. So they fork the coin. The coin retains certain attributes of the previous coin. For some of them, they give airdrop for people that are owning. So if you are owning Ethereum at that time, they give you a particular amount of airdrop. That's what formed Ethereum Classic. So that was what formed Ethereum Classic. So Bitcoin also has been able to go through several forks. I know we've seen BCH, that's Bitcoin Cash. We've seen BSV. We've seen BSV. So these are several forks of Bitcoin. Some of them decide that, okay, the way Bitcoin is running, they don't like it, or the way a particular currency is running, they don't like it, even though they like that particular currency. So instead of creating a new currency, they just fork the coin, create the same coin with some very little different properties and principles that apply to the new coin. So that is what a fork is. So lastly, 51% attack. So 51% attack is so for Bitcoin network, it's actually not possible for Bitcoin network to be attacked for everything about Bitcoin to happen. It's not possible for an attack to happen on the network. But for this attack to happen, then there has to be 51% ownership of all the miners. Since the miners that's why the miners are not in a particular location. There are different miners in America, different miners in Asia, different miners. I don't know if there are people mining Bitcoin in Africa. I don't know. So there are different miners located across the world. But for an attack to happen on a system, there has to be 51% control of miners. So if we have 51% miners, if someone has 51% control of miners, then they can attack the coin. There was an attack that happened on Ethereum Classic some times ago. It was a 51% attack. So there were okay, smart contract. I will explain a lot about smart contracts when we start DeFi, centralized finance. We'll see how smart contract works in particular. So I will shed more. I will explain it. I'm just trying to explain it here in a little bit in relation to Bitcoin right now. Yeah. So I'm explaining 51% attack. So 51% attack is when a particular person has control of 51% of the miners. Then the person can decide to attack the network. Yeah, the person can attack the network. So this is, I schedule 1 hour for this class. Okay, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's see what we can achieve. Next, please try to mute your mic and off your video, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, understanding cryptocurrency concept, cryptocurrency consensus mechanism. So I was explaining the other time, I think I made mention of consensus mechanism. So this is like a protocol through which different blockchain works. So the other time I explained that Bitcoin has a proof of work protocol. So there are different cryptocurrency consensus mechanism which applies to various coins. There's proof of work, there's proof of stake, and there's this delegated proof of stake. So these have a different way in which they work. So proof of work works in such a way that there has to be miners that validates transactions. So there have to be miners across the world that meet a certain, what will I call it now? They have to meet a certain standards before they can mine the coin. What's the question? How I will see. I can't say if it will be available tonight. It's going to be available tonight, but I'm not sure if I'll upload it tonight. But the recording will be available by the end of this class, like by the end of Friday. The recording will be available. But I'll find a way to get it online today, Sha. I'll see if I can get it online today. So as I was explaining, so proof of work has to deal with validation of, so miners have to validate each transaction and create a block before that network can work. That's for proof of work. But on proof of stake, you don't need miners. What you need is community members that stake their coin. So in order to validate transaction, you need different persons staking their coin. So that is why Ethereum is moving into proof of stake, where you can stake your coin. So when you stake your coin, under proof of stake, you stake your coin. So when you stake your coin, you receive a particular reward per each block that is being mined. So instead of a particular miner getting all the total share, you get a particular reward for each block that is being mined. So where proof of stake comes up is when you see some certain tokens that you can stake them and get certain rewards. I know of EOS at a particular point in time, IOST, and in the world of decentralized finance now, we have a lot of coins that are proof of stake that you just have to stake the coin and you get certain rewards per each block that are being mined. So the difference between proof of stake, delegated proof of stake has almost the same similarity with proof of stake. But in the case of delegated proof of stake, the people that get the reward, like the miners, are selected by the governing body, like the foundation of that coin. That is how EOS works. So that is where you see a network where they say they have 21 super nodes or 21, they call them super nodes or power nodes. They have different names for them in different networks. So EOS has that. I think Tron Network too has that. So they have a number of people that they delegate that can create or that can mine block on that particular coin. Proof of stake is readily available to everybody, like it's a community thing, everybody can do that. But in delegated proof of stake, it's only certain persons that are being selected by the network foundation to mine blocks or create blocks. Can a proof of stake network has Can they have 51% attack too? No. 51% attack is majorly majorly a property that is attached to proof of work. So that is one of those things that proof of stake is trying to, that's some of the little problems with Bitcoin that proof of stake network is trying to mitigate. Although proof of stake network they have their own limitation too, because I will explain this when I'm explaining decentralized finance, because that has to do with Ethereum a lot. So proof of stake has some certain issue with security. Not a lot of problem with security like that, but it has some certain limitations when it comes. It has some certain limitations that makes proof of work much more better than proof of stake. So that is basically how proof of work, proof of stake, and delegated proof of stake, how they are different, and how this consensus mechanism, how they work on different network. So the next thing we move to now is wallet. I don't know if I should start this or I should try to continue this in the next class. Because I don't want this class to be so long so that I'll be able to, it won't be information overload. Should I continue or should I just start this tomorrow? Am I getting a response? Okay. If I'm not getting a response, let me try to explain wallets. I'm trying to pick up wallet and exchange. So if I'm going to explain wallets, I want to explain exchanges too. So wallets is basically your crypto wallet. Your crypto wallet is basically where you have access to where you have a password to secure your assets, your crypto assets. The same way your normal is just the same way your wallet is just the same way your normal wallet works, whereby you put money, but there's a difference here. In your wallet, you don't actually keep your crypto in your wallet. Your cryptocurrency is not stored in your wallet. As we may think to understand, your cryptocurrency is not stored in your wallet. What your cryptocurrency is stored on the blockchain. So what your wallet gives you, it gives you access to your money on the blockchain. It gives you ownership of that particular money. So that's basically what wallet services, what they do. So with your wallet, you can readily send money, you can readily receive money. So far you have your wallet address. Okay, so far you have your wallet address. So if you have your wallet address, you have access. You have your wallet address, you have your password, you have access to that particular coin, like your assets in that wallet. So that is the way your wallet service works. So it gives you ownership to your digital assets, to your digital money. It gives you access to your money, to your NFTs and the likes. So the way wallet works is that you have a private key and a public key. Let me see if there's a place where I explain terms relating to wallets. So you have your private key, you have your public key that gives you ownership to a particular wallet. So there are two types of crypto wallets. There's the hot wallet and there's the cold wallet. So a lot of the wallets we use, MetaMask, what's this wallet now? Token Pocket, Trust wallets, they are all hot wallets because with hot wallets, you have to connect it to the internet before you can carry out a transaction. So your hot wallet are the wallets whereby you have your assets and you carry out your day-to-day transaction, like you have it on the internet. Then there's another form of wallet, which is cold wallets. So cold wallet is the wallet some of these exchanges use as liquidity provider. So your cold wallet is not connected to the internet at all. Like it doesn't have an interface with the internet at all. So you can actually create a cold wallet. So you create a particular wallet, and after you connect the wallet, like after you've created the wallet once, the only thing you do is you just send your currency there. You remove every details that have to do with that wallet and the internet. So that makes a cold wallet. So your cold wallet is offline. It doesn't have any connection with the internet, and that makes it a little bit much more secured than your hot wallet, whereby you connect it to the internet, and if there's a security flaws, maybe you install a keylogger or install a phishing app, your wallet can be affected, or someone can hack your wallet. So different terms relating to wallets. So I was talking about your private key. So your private key is a key that should be known to you alone. So when you create a wallet, you have something called a private key. In some case, you have a mnemonic phrase. So a mnemonic phrase is this phrase you have where you have maybe they call it, they have like 12 different words. I'll open a particular wallet now and we'll see the mnemonic phrase. So when you open a wallet, you have your private key. It's alphanumeric. So it's a combination of a lot of words and numbers that is automatically generated. And no two private key can be the same. No two private key can be the same. So private keys and public keys are unique. It's a unique identifier. So once there's a private key, no two person can own a particular private key. So that means whatever private key and public key you have is for you and you alone. So your public key, you don't share it with people. It's only for you. It's for you to gain access into your wallet. So I can decide to open a wallet on Token Pocket and extract that's one of the usefulness of private key. I can decide to open a wallet on Token Pocket, extract the private key and use it on Trust wallets. Or I can decide to import that particular wallet from my Trust wallet and import it to my MetaMask. So far it is the same private key, I'll still have access to the same money. It's just like when you withdraw, when you have an account with Access Bank, it means you can use your Access Bank money, you can use it in GT Bank. It's not possible in the usual banking system anyways, but that's the same way wallet works, whereby the money I have in this wallet, that's why I said your wallets they are not the one, the wallet doesn't hold your cryptocurrency as the case may be. What your wallet does is that it gives you access to your cryptocurrency on the blockchain. Your currency is on the blockchain, it's not in the wallet. Wallet services are just providing an interface for you to see the currencies you have in your wallet. So that is how it works. So that is why you can input your private key from your Trust wallet and place it on your Token Pocket or MetaMask and still have the same value of what you have. And that is one difference of having your own wallet from creating an exchange account. I will explain what that is. So wallet is just like probably you having a Binance account and you being able to use your money in Binance. You've been able to use it on, let's say, FTX or KuCoin or Bondu or which other Nigerian, or QDAX now. So that is what private key looks like. So your public key can be shared with different persons. Your public key is just like your bank account. So you can share it. So that is what you use to receive money, to receive crypto assets rather. So if you want to receive a crypto asset now, you give them your public key. So your public key is like your account number that you share with people if you want to receive money. So that is how public key works. Okay, what's this question? Exchange wallets and external wallets like Trust Wallet and MetaMask. Yes, I will explain that now. So we are going to exchange very soon. So I will explain that. So briefly, let me explain how that works. So for every exchange now, for every account that is being created on an exchange site, they create a wallet for you. But the thing is, you are not the owner of the private key of the wallet. So that is why if I send a coin from, let's say, BEP20 now, I will explain what that is, crypto network now. Let's say I send an Ethereum coin and I selected, let's say I'm sending a coin on Ethereum and I send it to a BEP20 wallet, which is on the Binance Smart Chain now. I can easily get that, the amount, because all I just need to do is to configure my network to access Binance Smart Chain, and I'll be able to access that particular amount. But for exchange side, because you are not the owner of the private key, they are the owner of the private key. So anytime you open a wallet account, an exchange account, they create wallet for you. So they create an Ethereum wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, other wallets, depending on all the coins they have. So they create a wallet for you and they maintain your wallet for you. They are the owner of the wallet. You are just using their service at that particular point in time. So that's where the phrase, not your keys, not your crypto. So if you are not the owner of the key, you are not the owner of the crypto. So I have an example, I have an experience of that recently. So for those that are in the group, in my group now, Coin Explorer community, you'll be familiar with when I called people to buy True Bitcoin. So I bought TrueBit. I bought it with my normal wallet. Then I bought it on this exchange, Bilaxi. I bought it on Bilaxi. And recently, Bilaxi stopped. They said they were hard and they stopped people from trading on their accounts. So right now, before I can move out that money from their account, I have to pay a particular FT fee, which should not be. But because they are the owner of the wallet service, there's nothing I can do. The money is still there anyway. So if I want to use the money, I'll have to either pay for that service or I'll leave the money there. So that is the difference between a wallet service. If it's my wallet now, I can easily just move my wallet. If Trust Wallet decide not to work again today, I can decide to use MetaMask wallet service instead of using Trust Wallet. Yeah. So is there another question? Yes, your wallet address is your public key. Yes, your wallet address is your public key. It's just like your bank account address. Yes, your bank account number rather. So that's what your public key is. So you can share your public key, but do not share your private key. The moment you share your private key, or the moment your private key is available publicly, then at that point in time, you have to create another wallet and move all your assets. Because if you give me your private key, I can easily move your money. Even you don't need to have any password on it. Whether you have a password on it or you don't have a password on it, I can easily move your money from that wallet into another wallet. So far, I have the private key. The same thing as the Munich phrase. So the Munich phrase is another example of private key. But in order to make it very, very much more simpler, that's where Munich phrase comes in play. I'll create a wallet now, and I will show us how that works, how that comes in play. So that's what a Munich phrase is. So also there's we have software wallet and we have hardware wallet. So software wallets are all these application wallets that we have, Trust Wallet, Token Pocket, MetaMask, and the likes. Hardware wallets are, so to use an hardware wallet it's a physical device that you connect your wallet to. So you use hardware wallet in order to secure your money. So hardware wallet has an extra layer of security before you can send money. So before I can decide to put off transaction on my wallet, I can try to put it off in such a way that even though you have access to my private key, you won't be able to move any coins outside of my private key at that particular point in time, because I've connected my wallet to my hardware wallet and I've disabled transaction at that particular point in time. So an example of hardware wallet is SafePal wallet. I will show it when I'm trying to practicalize what I'm explaining. SafePal wallet, and then there is Ledger wallet. There's Ledger wallet, and I can't remember the third one now. So those are examples of hardware wallets that you can use. So multi-sign wallet can be created using some certain codes. You can ask the developer to probably help you create a multi-sign wallet. So multi-sign wallet is when you have, let's say, you have a joint account with someone now, whereby if I want to withdraw money from that account, the other person also has to be a signatory. I'm sorry, I need to take order. Yeah, so I'm sorry. So the other person had to be a signatory to that wallet before you can withdraw money from that account. So that is what a multi-signed wallet, that is how it works. So for a multi-signed wallet, you create several signatories. So you create several signatories, let's say 3 or 4, in such a way that for every transactions that happen on that wallet, for every external transactions that let's say you want to transfer money or you want to transfer a particular coin, they had to, all the 4 signatories had to be complete before that particular transaction is completed. Okay, so 2FA is basically two-factor authentication. So two-factor authentication is one of the ways in which you secure your wallet. I think this has to do a lot with exchanges than wallets. Yeah, so two-factor, when you create your exchange now, when you create your exchange accounts, one of the ways to add an extra layer of security to it is to have a two-factor authentication on it. And if you are going to use so this is how a two-factor authentication works. So when you create an account, there's a particular code you scan. For anyone that wants to create an authenticator, I would advise that you use AUTY. I will type it in the chat now. AUTY, AUTT, AUTHY. Okay, the reason I'm recommending AUTY is because there are 2 types of authenticator now. There's Google Authenticator and then there's AUTY. For Google Authenticator, whatever code that is on Google Authenticator, you most likely not be able to get your money if you misplace your device. I mean, you most likely not be able to get those codes if you misplace your device. That's for AUTY. I mean, for Google Authenticator. But on AUTY, you link it with your phone number. So even though you misplace your phone, you can easily get it running back immediately you get your phone number running. So two-factor authenticator is an extra security layer you put on your account just to secure it. So anytime you try to log in into your account, they ask, after you've entered your password and you have entered your email, they ask for your two-factor authenticator, your authenticator. So an authenticator is a code that works, it's a random code that is generated. It expires, it's just like your hardware token for those that have a bank hardware token. So a token is generated for each account, which expires within 30 seconds. So except the person has an access to your phone, or the person has an access to your phone, there's no way the person will be able to gain access into your account. So two-factor authenticator acts as an extra layer. So when you press the token, that's when you can log in into the account. And for every withdrawal that you want to do on that particular account, on your exchange account, you need to input the two-factor authenticator. So it acts as an extra layer. So after receiving code on your, let's say, email and your phone number, they ask for a code, a two-factor authenticator code, before you can withdraw money on that account. So another thing to explain is crypto network. So how do I explain this? So I explained blockchain the other time, and so different blockchains works based on different networks. Like they work based on different networks. So like that, their token works on different networks. So for Ethereum token are ERC20 token. So those are Ethereum token. For Binance Smart Chain token, they are BEP20 token. For Tron Network are TRC20 token. So we have different networks that have different token identifier. For Solana has SPL. Solana has XPL. For Phantom, I think Phantom is Opera. So different token, different cryptocurrency, they have different token. When I try to practicalize wallets, and now we can access different wallets, I think that's when we get to network bridge. I will explain this crypto network proper. So let's just take this as a basic explanation. So this question: is it possible to withdraw from an exchange wallet without a phone number verification code? Yes, it's possible. If what you enter in your exchange wallet now, your exchange account, if what you use as a login is your email. I have a particular Binance account that I use my email and just my 2FA. So where they will send authentication to is your email, and then you enter your 2FA. So for some, they have their email, their phone number, and their 2FA. So if you don't have your phone number linked to that particular account, it's possible to withdraw money without a code being sent to your phone number. Yeah, so this is 6:30. I want to be able to answer question. I don't know how I will be able to do this. I have a lot of things I need to explain about crypto exchange. I have a lot of things I need to explain about crypto exchange. So let's stop here so that tomorrow we'll be able to continue from where we stop exchange, and I'll be able to practicalize. I'll be able to show us how we can open exchanges and some of the exchanges we should actually deal with. It's not every exchange site. As a matter of fact, not only exchange now, it's not every wallet service that you should use. It's not every wallet service you should use. You need to check out the reputation of that wallet service, so that, because you are not the developer of that project, of that particular project, so you don't know the kind of codes that that particular wallet service has been written in. So for now, the wallet service I would recommend is Trust Wallet. Although I don't like Trust Wallet because you can actually withdraw money on Trust Wallet without your password. If a person has a Trust Wallet account now, all I need to just do is have access to the Trust Wallet account. I can transfer money from the Trust Wallet account without a password. So I won't recommend Trust Wallet per se, even though it's the easiest wallet to use. You can use C9 Wallet. I'll type it now. You can use C98 Wallet. You can use Trust Wallet. You can use Token Pocket Wallet. You can use MetaMask, but there are limitations to MetaMask because it only works for tokens under Ethereum chain, tokens that are basically started from Ethereum chain. So it only works for Ethereum. It doesn't work for Tron. It doesn't support Tron because Tron has a different network entirely. It works for BEP20, it works for Phantom, Matic. I will explain all of this when we get to network bridge. So yeah, you can use MetaMask. So another thing you need to understand when it comes to wallet service is that you need to make sure that your private key and your public key, your private key and your unique phrase especially. SafePal is an hardware wallet. I think they have, I think SafePal has I think they have a software wallet too. I don't know. I think they have a software wallet. So, but I know SafePal as an hardware wallet. So you need to make sure that your private key is secured, like you save your private key. And please don't save your private key on your Telegram account, so that someone will not have access to your, an hacker will not have access to your Telegram account and be able to have access to your wallet. Don't save it on your WhatsApp, because if anyone has access to your WhatsApp, they can easily withdraw money from your account. The best way to save your private key is to write it down offline. Write it or print it offline and put it in a very, very secure place. I would say Google Drive. Probably paste it on a document and put it on Google Drive. But the problem with that is the moment your Google Drive is hacked, or the moment Google software is hacked, which you don't be, but you can't be too sure. The moment it is hacked, your data are vulnerable. Like it is prone to getting hacked. So always make sure you like your private key, your unique phrase. Always make sure that they are safe. Like you keep them very, very safe, where you and you only have access to it. Yeah. So with this, we've come to the end of the class. So so if you have a question, you can ask the question. Just type the question, so I'll be able to answer it. And if you want to ask the question, just raise your hand so that I'll be able to unmute you. Yeah, I'm waiting for questions. Questions, please. So if you have any question as regards what we've talked about today, from money, blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and then to wallet service. If you have a question. Yes, I explained that you can actually create a code wallet for yourself. A code hardware wallet, yes, you can. So, okay, auth and code hardware wallet. Yes, it's possible. Maybe your auth hardware wallet can be Ledger. So let me quickly share my browser screen. Let me share my browser screen. Come. I want to show us what the nano ledger looks like. So yeah, so this is what an hardware wallet looks like. This is what an hardware wallet looks like. Yeah. So there's this thing I wanted to explain the other time. I forgot to explain. So if you want to, for all these software wallets, if you are using an Android phone especially, make sure you don't download the software from Google Play Store. Make sure you download it on the site, because a lot of developers are now creating something that looks like a similar app. They might just put, it might even be the same name, Trust Wallet, and they put it there, which is not the official Trust Wallet. So if you want to download any software app, any wallet app, make sure you search for that particular wallet, and make sure it is the official wallet you are searching for, and download it from there. There's a place, they have a place for you to download their software. So go download it from the official wallet address. Don't download it from Play Store. Apple Store is a bit secured, but even at that, make sure you download it from their official site, so that you won't fall into the hand of okay, transaction fee. I think we'll explain this when we start explaining cryptocurrency, how to deposit and withdraw from cryptocurrencies. Yeah, so the various coin have their own transaction fee, which is a little bit minute, and transaction fee is based on different things. Transaction fee rate is based on different things. For Bitcoin, transaction fee is, I think, I don't use Bitcoin a lot. I don't use the Bitcoin wallet a lot, but transaction fee on Bitcoin shouldn't be up to $1 or $5, depending on the wallet service you are using, because some of these wallets also take a little of the transaction fee, or it's dependent on how congested the network is at that particular point in time. So in order to make your, okay, I didn't explain transaction fee when I was explaining. Okay, so transaction fee is the amount you use that serves as the usual bank charges when we do a transaction. So transaction fee is a fee that allows a particular transaction to go at a particular point in time. So anytime you want to transact, in order for that particular transaction to be registered on a block, in order for a block to be created for that transaction, they charge a particular transaction fee. So there are some times that the network is very, very congested, and you want to increase, you will need to increase your transaction fee, or the transaction fee will be increased at that particular point in time, in order to make that particular transaction validated and successful. So transaction fee varies depending on the network you are sending it from, the particular coin you are sending. So for Bitcoin, it's something around $1. For Ethereum right now, because of Ethereum gas fee, you have to check Earth gas. Because of Ethereum gas fee, there are different price per time. It's dependent on the gas fee right now. So the gas fee on Ethereum right now is at least $25 for every transaction on Ethereum right now. For every transaction on Ethereum. So it depends. If you are sending on Binance Smart Chain, the gas fee is as low as 0.1. It's as low as $0.1. Okay, okay, cold wallets. As I explained the other time, your normal software wallets can also serve as a cold wallet. Yes, Ethereum is congested. It's always congested right now. Ethereum network is always congested. Yeah. The only time it's not congested is probably if you wake up early in the morning when your gas fee might be very, very low. Maybe it's around $8 or $10. But during the afternoon right now, Ethereum network is always very, very congested. So as I was explaining, so you can use your normal wallet, you can make it serve as your cold wallet. The only difference between a cold and hot wallet is that a cold wallet is offline, like you don't connect it with the internet at all. So let's say you are trying to save a certain amount of money as future money, you don't want to touch it, you just want to leave it maybe as an inheritance, or you don't want to touch it till the next 10 years. So you create a wallet that you save the private key. The private key is not readily available to you, like you just save it somewhere where you cannot easily access, so that you don't log onto it and easily access your money. So you just create a lot. Okay, let me explain cold wallet fee before I explain gas fee and transaction fee. Yeah, so so you can just create a wallet that is offline, that you don't transact with online, and send your money there. So that can serve as your cold wallet that you don't touch at all, like you just leave it there. Yeah, so your normal software wallet can also serve as your cold wallet. So you just create the wallet, and then when you create the wallet, you get the private key, you save it, and you keep it offline. So speaking of private key, so let me quickly show you Ethereum. I know a lot of us are familiar with Trust Wallet and the likes, but in the early days, the foremost Ethereum wallet for saving Ethereum is Maita Wallet. That's the official Ethereum wallet. So I hope you can see my screen of Maita Wallet. Okay, so let me quickly explain gas fee, how gas fee and transaction fee works. So a lot of time for a particular transaction, if you are sending it from your wallet, your gas fee will determine the transaction fee you'll be charged, like the gas at that particular point in time. The gas at that particular point in time for that chain will determine the transaction fee you'll be paying. Now, on an exchange site, different exchange sites have different transaction fee. So for some, by the time we check transaction exchanges and when we try to withdraw and deposit on an exchange site, we'll be able to explain this particular thing. So, okay, so the gas of a coin determines the transaction fee of that particular coin, and different exchanges can determine that. Okay, Bundle can determine that for you to withdraw this particular coin, they will charge you 0.1%. So different exchanges can decide to set up their own transaction fee for each coin, as the case may be. Okay, so how is a coin created? Can people create it to have massive assets? Like at the beginning, the Satoshi have the 21 million BTC to himself. So when you create a coin, I'm coming. That's can. So when you create a coin, you can determine the amount of value, like the total supply of the coin. Coin market. So when you create a coin, you can determine, like when you are programming the coin, all these coins are created through programs, through programming language, depending on the particular coin. So when you create that particular coin, when you create a coin, you determine the amount that will be the total supply. So when you have a particular total supply, you can decide to create that coin to be mineable. So that means the coin doesn't have a total supply. That means you can mine new coin. So those are some of the coins that you see that they don't have a total supply, because you can readily mine new coin. You can create new coin per time. So it has to be a function in the smart contract that is used in creating that particular coin. So if the smart contract does not state that this particular coin is mineable, then you cannot create a new coin. But if there's a term that allows it to be mineable, then you can create yeah. So when you create a coin, there's a wallet that the coin will be in. So from that wallet you create a code whereby anybody that wants to sell. So all these exchanges, they incorporate some of these programs of each wallet facilities. They incorporate the programs of each wallet facilities in their exchanges. So that is why you can be able to buy or sell a particular coin. Okay, how do you check if a particular coin is mineable, or if a particular coin is mineable in a smart contract? So you basically have to check their white paper, or if you are technically inclined, like if you have technical knowledge of how some of these things works, you can check that particular coin, check the code, the smart contract of that particular coin, and be able to see if there's a mine function. So another thing that can help you is CoinMarketCap. So CoinMarketCap is an aggregator for different coin. Like we have as much as possible coin on CoinMarketCap. You can see we have close to page 92, of which each one is 100. So CoinMarketCap can help you. I can't remember a particular coin that is mineable now. I would have probably checked it and show you. So if you know how to check, if you're able to check the smart contract of the coin, you can easily check if it is mineable or not. Okay, so an example of this is Theta now. That's a stable coin. So you can see that the maximum supply is not available. The reason the maximum supply is not available is because they can easily mine or create new coin. That is why the maximum supply that will be available is not showing here. The maximum supply is not showing here, but the total supply as at now is this amount. So let's select, let me select Bitcoin. So this particular site gives you full information you need to know about a particular coin. You need to know about a particular coin. So Bitcoin is mineable. This mineable function, this tag mineable function has to do with the mining of the coin for miners, reward miners. It doesn't have to do with mineable as in creating new coin. So as I explained the other time, it's a proof of work. If you check some other coin, what you see there is not proof of work, it's probably proof of stake. So these are some of the links. If you want to read Bitcoin, if you want to read a particular coin's white paper, the white paper is available. So white paper is like a document that details everything you need to know about that coin. The tokenomics, I will explain tokenomics in subsequent class. So this is the source code. You can check the source code. This is the GitHub code of this is the code. This is the source code of Bitcoin. This is the source code of Bitcoin when it was created. You can see some 4 years ago, 7 years ago. Yeah. So this is the source code. So you can see the source code of that particular coin and different information you need to know about that particular coin. You can see the trading volume, market cap. I will explain all of this. You can see the price of that coin. You can see the chart, the movement of that coin at different points in time, over different points in time. You can have those information readily available to you. Then you can see a little details of the coin, the price of the coin, the 24 hours change of the coin, the trading volume, the market cap, the dominance of the coin, and a lot of other stuffs that you need to know about that particular coin. So coinmarketcap.com, or CoinGecko, they have the same function, coingecko.com. So these are where you can check full information, or some of the aggregators that serves as where you can get information about a particular coin. Yeah. So do I have any other question? So I wanted to use that to explain. Okay. So I've showed us, so the total supply, the maximum supply of Bitcoin that can be available is 21 million. But right now, circulating, the total amount in circulation right now is around 18.9 million BTC. So hardware wallets, there's Ledger wallets, there is Tezo wallets. So Tezo is also an hardware wallet too. Yeah, so Tezo is also an hardware wallet too. So do you have any other question, or we call it a day? Question, please. Is there any question on what we've explained so far? Okay, so if there's no question, then we'll call it a day. So okay, if there's no question, then we'll call it a day. So okay, Monome, you can ask your question. Monome, you can ask your question. I'm waiting for your question. So
hi.
Okay.
Hi, sorry, I wanted to ask if a coin is listed on coin market cap that you just showed us, does it mean the coin is valid, like it's not a scam or something? Does it validate a coin?
No. Before now, during let's say 2017, 2018, listing a coin on coin market cap or CoinGecko validates a coin as being legit or being a coin you can put your money into. But right now, they are listing standards has changed over the years, and they list any coin. Like you can see a lot of shit coins that are being listed every day. Let me show you some large mover. You can see all of these coins. A lot of them are they are scam coins that have you can see some doing 1000% with very, very little volume. So coin market cap or CoinGecko does not validate that a particular coin is a legit coin. Before now, like early days of cryptocurrency, 2017, 2016, any coin that is listed on, at that point in time, any coin getting listed on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, it automatically pumps the coin. The moment you hear a news that a coin is getting listed on those two aggregators, the coin pumps immediately. But right now, their standards has changed a lot, and they list different coins. That's why you see a lot of scam coins being listed every day. So because a coin is listed on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap does not prove that that particular coin is legit or it's a legal coin. When we get to trading, I will explain that. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't trade or you shouldn't buy a coin that is beyond the first 200, 300 on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Anything outside that is more like a gamble. As a matter of fact, you should only trade coin in first 100. Yeah, you should only trade coin in first 100, but you can actually trade some that are number 1000, and you can trade them, but it's like a gamble. Anything outside all this first 100, because the farther they are, the easier the volatile they are. Like the farther their numbering is on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, the volatile those particular coins, the volatile they are. So yeah, on CoinGecko you can check the price 1 hour change. You can check their 24-hour change, their 7 days change. You can see the percent they've done in the last 7 days, 24 hours, and the likes. Okay, the difference between BEP20 and BEP2. So when Binance was trying to move out of Ethereum, they started a particular network called Binance Chain. They started a particular network called Binance Chain, which is totally different from Binance Smart Chain. So BEP2 wallet service, I will show us, when I try to explain, I will show us that BEP2 wallet service uses Binance, they are on Binance Chain, not on Binance Smart Chain. So Binance Smart Chain, so over time, after some years, they stopped, I think they started, BEP2 is no longer in use, like Binance Chain is no longer in use like it was as at that time. So at that time, instead of using their Ethereum chain, they are only, instead of sending through Ethereum, you can actually send it through BEP2, which is Binance Chain. But BEP20, it's Binance Smart Chain network. It has the same wallet address. Like your BEP20 has the same wallet address as your Ethereum wallet address. The only thing you need to do is to add network, like to add the network of BEP20 or Phantom Chain, as the case may be. I will explain that by the time we get to network bridge. Hope you understand that. Yeah, so we're almost getting to 2 hours. So any other question, you can just send them to me on WhatsApp, or you can email them to me on oladayo225@gmail.com, or you can send it to me on 0813-616-7673. So you can send it to me through those platforms. So I will explain them in class tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for joining today's class. We'll continue tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to cover a lot of grants because we have a lot of things to cover, and I'm trying to see how we will be able to fix everything within 5 days. So thank you for joining the class. Have a wonderful day.